fellow YouTube modeling community, my Styrene Syndicate brothers and sisters, and my subscribers. How you guys doing today? Not doing too bad, thank you. Well, we are here today to do Getting to Know the Syndicate Volume 9. Holy crap, Volume 9. Today I have got a longer list of shout-outs. Try to catch up a little bit from the holidays, you know. Just a bit longer. Not too well, yeah, it's longer. And I'm going to do 3 spotlights. And they're going to be fairly quick spotlights, just so I don't make this video too long. And then one behind the scenes, and then I'll let you guys get out of here. So let's jump right into it. So as always, well, now all the names will be up here somewhere. So yeah, up here. So that's where you look, up there. All right, and like always, I'll have the links to the spotlights in the description below, so be easy to get to. All right, so let's get started. First shout out of the day goes to Bat Modeler Maker. Oh, Bat Model Maker. Bat Model Maker. And then we have Andre Bergsma, Manuel Fernandez, bing. And then we're going to jump over to Bill Tate, break. Mark Miller, ding. Martin Jacobson, up there. Mark O'Neill, bing. Martin Grosso, I hope, bing. And Brad F. parentheses Wrath 2612. Brad F. Wrath 2612. Right there. All right. That is our shout-outs. Oh, guys, hook us up. Get us some videos and stuff up and comment, you know. If you do have a YouTube that I couldn't find, comment. Let us know, you know. All right. Now, our first spotlight this week is going to be Brad Hare. Brad Hare. All right. He is a sci-fi, aircraft, figures. Actually, does a little bit of everything. And he does some really cool stuff. He has a different labeling system on his videos. He labels them BHP, which I believe stands for Brad Hare Productions, number 0, and then a number, in order. And I think he's well up into the hundreds now. So, and he's got a couple review videos that he actually says they have a review on. But if you go back and you watch them, I mean, he throws out some stuff during his videos, you know, that are interesting little tidbits, you know, like a lot of people do that. But he does, you know, a lot of sci-fi, As a matter of fact, he just did a pair of NX-01s, and just recently, and I saw those. You know, they're the same model, but he did them differently. Really cool. So check that out. And he also did, I believe it was a Pegasus. I believe. Yeah. It was a Pegasus. Trying to, because I can vision it. I can see it in my head, and I'm like, so that was a Pegasus, right? So yes, it was a Pegasus. And he did some cool stuff on that one too. He also did a figure, and it's the contaminated Cal Batman, and it turned out pretty darn cool. It's the Cal's pink, but you know that's the way it goes. You know, it gets contaminated. But yeah, it was pretty cool. It was the Adam West version, by the way. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Bounce on over, guys. Check him out. He's got some cool stuff over there. So look a brother up. Check out his stuff. All right. Who's next? Who's next? Who's next? This one's next. Our next guy we're going to talk about is Moggy's Miniatures. Moggy's Miniatures. Now, Moggy's Miniatures, on his YouTube channel, they're short videos. However, there's quite a few of them up there. And it shows off his work. And I'll tell you what, he does some really, really good work. A lot of eye candy, guys. Lots and lots of eye candy. And, you know, they're miniatures. He also does busts and some different resin kits and, you know, other stuff like that also. But Warhammer, Forge World, Savage Forge miniatures. He does quite a few of those. And they are, wow, they're really cool. If you're interested in the Forge World stuff, yeah, he's got some really cool ones. So you got to check those out. And if you've ever, Savage Forge is also part of our community, and they do some fantastic sculpts. Fantastic. And if you go to his site, Moggy's Miniature site, he's got some of them, and he's painted them so you can see them in their completed state, you know, and he does a review on a couple of them, I do believe, and they are just cool. Very, very cool. So yeah, check this guy out. He also did, he did a Forge World Eldar Scorpion Type 2 heavy grav tank. That one is bad to the bone. The color choices was awesome, and the way he did it, the paint, the way he laid out the paint on it, off the chain, guys, off the chain. So please do yourself a favor, bounce, check out his stuff. You know, you won't be sorry, because I mean, they're really, really cool stuff over there. And you know, let him know, hey, that you appreciate, you know, that he's putting up his work, you know. Like with all these guys, you know, when you see somebody I do a spotlight on, bounce over, tell them that you appreciate, you know, what they're doing for the community, you know. All right. And last for the spotlights today is one of my Gundam brothers. Not that I'm huge into Gundams. I do Gundams. I'm not huge into them. I do everything. But this guy, he's a Gunpla builder at heart. And his name is Sal M.Y. Sal M.Y. Sal dabbles a little bit into the aircraft realm, and he also dabbles a little bit into the miniature world. But like I said, his heart is Gunpla. You know, he loves his Gunpla. He just, I think it was a month ago, finished up. He did a 3-part series on doing a high-grade 1/144th scale Turn X. And what he did is he started it, and he takes you through the process that he goes through from start to completion. You know, from, you know, initial paint all the way through the final weathering. And he did a fantastic job. Fantastic. And, you know, it's pretty clear on the steps that he uses. So, I mean, there's a lot of good information in that video. Now, in his archives, he's also got a couple other ones that he did. He did a tank that way with 3 parts, I believe. And, yeah, I mean, a lot of good information. And it takes you basically into his head, you know, to see how he gets to from point A to point B with his builds, and it's a really cool process. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, and you know, some of the tips that he gives is really cool. Yeah, it's just you go over there and you can appreciate, you know, what this guy is doing, because he's showing you how what his process is, you know, and that to me is amazing that he's willing to share that information, because there's a lot of people out there that think everything that they do is a trade secret, you know, and for him to sit there and show you, you know, his steps and his process, you know, is an amazing thing. So yeah, Sal My, M-Y, go over and check him out. All right, and that's it for those. Now, I'm going to do one last thing, and that's going to go, we're going to dive behind the scenes real quick. And the brother I need to talk about today is none other than our brother from another mother, Gil, the Red Dragon himself, from Red Dragon Model Works. This brother, he is, you know, without a doubt, one of the most approachable fellas I've ever talked to. To some people, he doesn't seem that way, but he is. He's very approachable. You know, he's very willing to talk to anybody and everybody, you know, especially if it's about, you know, the hobby. You know, if it's about the hobby, you're going to have an earful, you know, because that brother, he's knowledgeable, you know, and he has some good tricks up his sleeve, you know, for doing things. And, you know, he's, like I said, he's just very approachable. And, you know, he's one of the, you know, one of the founders, you know, of the Syndicate. And I appreciate that. I really do. You know, I know that Gil, Steve, and Phil, you know, those 3 brothers put a lot of time and a lot of effort, you know, into this community. And I'm just, you know, I'm glad they asked me on board to help, you know, do this thing. You know, I'm just blown away that, you know, that they even asked me. And of course I said yes, you know. But yeah, Gil, like I said, you guys, you know him. You know how he is. He's always, you know, he's upbeat. He's happy to be, you know, he's happy to be in this, you know, in this community. You know, he has a love of the hobby that's unsurpassed. I mean, he loves this hobby. So yeah, guys, if you got a question for him, you know, hit him up. You know, he is very approachable. He acts all mean and rough and no, I'm just kidding. Love you, brother. But no, go ahead, hit him up, brothers. He will be more than happy to talk to you about stuff. He's just that kind of brother, you know. All right. So, Red Dragon Model Works, I'll put a link up, or I'll put it up here, and I'll put a link down there. I'm sure 99.9% of you guys and gals already know Gil, so, you know where to find him. But I will put the links just in case. All right. Well, folks, that is it for this episode, or this volume. Yeah, volume 9. 9! We have volume 9. Okay, we have it in the books. Not this coming Saturday, but next Saturday, don't forget, we have the show. This Saturday, we may have a hangout. We're not sure. It's you know, the odd Saturday is just kind of a floating day. You know, one of us may jump in and throw up a hangout. You know, one of us, you know, because we have life too. We love you and we appreciate your support, but we have life too. But yeah, probably one of us will put up a hangout on Saturday. It'll be maybe a couple hours, but maybe longer. Who knows? If we're bored and ain't got nothing to do, we may throw one up all day. Who knows? That's the great thing about this thing. You never know what's going to happen. But anyway, we'll call it good right there. I think I got everything covered. Okay. Till next time. Peace. Keep on building, boys.